Just been a wonderful experience. You know, this last weekend, me and my family had an opportunity to go and visit Louisville, Kentucky, where we lived for a few years when I was going through seminary, and just had a great experience. Our church there was having a reunion, so we got to see a lot of people we ministered with and just got to know in discipleship with. And one of the things that was a highlight of it was at the same time that the Southern Seminary was doing what they call their fall festival. And this is just their annual kickoff to get students, mingling, getting to know each other, building that relationship, and it's always just very well done. This year, the theme of it had to do with the heavens declaring the glory of God, and it had a little bit of a space exploration theme for kids. Just really, just fun to get to be part of it. So, going off of this space exploration theme, they had a wonderful fireworks display at the end of the time together. And the way that they kicked it off was they turned off all the lights over this huge grand the quad or the lawn, and they started to play this music, and it was just really ramping up. People are getting excited. And then, keeping with the space theme, they played the words of the astronauts who landed on the moon. And we know that there was a great line of, one small step for man, one huge step for mankind. Wow, that is the perfect thing to say. And after that, they read part of Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And I wasn't living when this happened, but I thought, that is the perfect thing to have said in that context. I can't think of anything better. I think we can all think of times where we said completely the opposite thing. The thing that doesn't go with the context at all. The thing that we wish that we could take back. And we're going to look at one of those places now. And so turn in your Bibles to Luke chapter 22. This context is the Passover meal. And we learn about a conversation that was taking place at the Passover meal. In Luke 22, and beginning in verse 24, I'm going to read to Luke 22:38. And we find that a dispute arose among them, that dispute being as to which of them was to be regarded as the greatest. And Jesus said to them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and those in authority over them are called benefactors. But not so with you. Rather, let the greatest among you become as the youngest, and the leader as the one who serves. For who's the greater, the one who reclines at the table, or the one who serves? Is it not the one who reclines at the table? But I am among you as the one who serves. You are those who have stayed with me in my trials, and I assign to you, as my Father assigned to me, a kingdom, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has demanded to have you, that he might sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned again, strengthen your brothers. Peter said to him, Lord, I'm ready to go with you, both to prison and to death. Jesus said, I tell you, Peter, the rooster will not crow this day until you deny me 3 times that you know me. And he said he said to them, when I sent you out with no money bag or knapsack or sandals, did you lack anything? They said, nothing. He said to them, but now let the one who has a money bag take it, and likewise a knapsack. And let the one who has no sword sell his cloak and buy one. For I tell you that this scripture must be fulfilled in me. And he was numbered with the transgressors. For what is written about me has its fulfillment. And they said, look, Lord, here are 2 swords. And he said to them, it is enough. So much in this passage. I just want to make some comments, mainly. But in this context, we see a very incredible conversation taking place. So out of sorts. I can't believe that's actually the topic of discussion. There's really three things that make this focus of conversation just so out of place. I can't believe that they're even talking about that. You know, this was a time of celebration, the Passover. It reminded them of what God had done for them, delivering the nation of Israel from bondage to Egypt. Remembering God delivering them from bondage to Egypt. The focus of the time is on God's deliverance. When He delivered them with an outstretched arm and a mighty hand. The focus is celebration on God, what God has done. Somehow the focus got to be on them. The second thing, Jesus he kicked off the whole night saying, I have earnestly desired to celebrate this Passover with you before I suffer. The whole tenor of his time leading up to this meal has been an expression of, I am going to suffer and die. It is necessary for the Son of Man to suffer and die. Jesus is going to his death. What are you guys talking about? And then the last thing is, wow, how can you forget that you're with Jesus? You're with Jesus. How did the discussion ever get to the point of a debate of who is the greatest among them all? Here's a point for us. If pride could enter into that conversation, into that situation, what makes you think that it can't enter your heart studying here at Brooks? Called the tendency to make things about ourselves. Go about studying great books, time spending in the Word. Sometimes our times together in class just feel so devotional. We're built up in our knowledge of the Word, but our heart is just bursting with love for God. And then we just quickly make it about ourselves. Oh, that was a good point. I'm going to use that in my ministry. They're gonna think I'm so smart when I give them this nugget. Or, can't believe that guy's in class. He's not a serious student like me. Critical spirit about classmates. I don't know if this actually goes on. This is just my experience in past schools. No, we know, right? Where it's been in other places, it's here at Brooks. How do we move on from this attention to Jesus and learning about Him to a focus on, but am I the greatest? Am I the greatest here? You have to take it as a warning, this passage. If it could happen there, it could happen in my own heart. Take care that we not stumble and with a prideful heart. Second, you hear Jesus' words here, but Luke doesn't remind us about every event that happened. When we look at the Gospel of John, he kind of gives us some details. He says, "But I am one who's with you as one who serves." That wasn't a pulpit message. That was a on his knees washing feet message. That changes things, right? Peter, I'm here with you as one who serves. Right? Peter, I'm lower than you. And his message is, look, I understand. The goal of our whole society around us is that we would be uplifted. The one who's celebrated is the benefactor. You know, in Greco-Roman society at the time, whole city streets and city planning was brought about by benefactors. People who helped arches be constructed, roads be improved, and for it, they got a statue along the road. You were something special if there was a monument to you on the side of the road. You know, some kind of statuette of your likeness, or your name written on bridge, arch, something like that. Wow. If you were there, you would think that is when you have arrived. But Jesus says in his economy, no, that's not when you have arrived. When it comes to what I'm calling you to, I'm saying, instead of desiring to be the greatest, desire to be the youngest. Not the supreme leader, but like the child. Not the one who celebrated, the one out front, but the servant, the one who's lowly. He modeled for them what it looks like in that meal, the washing of the feet, patiently correcting them. You know, Jesus said in another place in Luke, he said that a disciple is not above his teacher. Everyone, when he's fully trained, will be like his master. And here's what we should come away. We need to remember, what is the purpose for us being here at Brooks? Why are we taking these classes? It's not so that we walk away with a degree, a paper to hang on our wall, so that we can fit nicely in society with a higher ranking. It's so that we would be more of a minister than we were when we came in. That we would be equipped for loving service, not just a full brain with a degree. As you go about your studies, you need to think about that the goal is ultimately to follow Christ's example of loving service. The skills that you learn, the knowledge that you are equipped with, is so you can serve others. Last, Jesus encourages them. He says, Simon, Simon, behold that Satan has demanded have you, that he might sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you. We know that Jesus is praying for us. He ever lives to make intercession for us. This is our struggle, and he is our helper. It is our plight that with the disciples we tend to make it about ourselves as well. Jesus has just spent the last few years preparing them for a lifetime of ministry. And he reminds them, again, that they're not above the challenges. He reminds them, one, that he's praying for them. Peter, I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail. This is so interesting. And when you have turned again, strengthen your brothers. Peter doesn't get it. Jesus is very direct with them. Peter, when you turn again, strengthen your brothers then. He's still from the plateau, no way. I will never, I'm ready right now. I'm ready right now to go to prison. I'm ready right now to go to death. Just let me have it. I'm ready. We know where his proud heart took him. Imagine the contrast in just a few hours, sitting at Jesus' side, debating, considering that he could be the greatest. And in a few hours, denying that he even knows him. But Jesus prayed for him. And then he reminds them of greater things. I know, you brothers, you were the ones who have stayed with me. And there are greater things to come. The point here, if God is calling you to a work, I know your brothers and sisters, you're already about that work. You're pursuing school here in the midst of already being committed to that work. But if God is calling you to that work, then he surely will be with you. He will enable you. If he's calling to serve you, he will be with you in the difficulties. That was the testimony of the disciples. When I sent you out, did you lack anything? Not a thing. We didn't. And he's preparing them for even greater ministry. What would it have looked like for this whole conversation to have been the right conversation? The one step for man, the giant step for mankind. Wow. What would it have looked like? It might have been a solemn time, a solemn and celebratory time of Jesus as the great Passover lamb. A humbling time of Jesus, we need your help. We are weak. A time of committed submission to him. Jesus, only by your power can we do the ministry before us. And a time of great encouragement. Jesus, only through your faithfulness are we able to do anything. That is the attitude of the heart that needs to dominate Brooks. That needs to dominate our own hearts towards one another. We are servants to one another, pursuing studies to learn how to be greater servants. That's my encouragement for you today from this text. Let's pray. God, we are the same. We have the same frail hearts as the men in this text who cared so much that they would be in line to be the greatest. God, would you humble us to know that we are but servants, men and women who you've called, that we would be humble servants of you and towards one another. Only then can you use an education, a training like Brooks Bible College and what we're learning here to make us servants and ministers to those you're calling us to. God, we thank you for your sacrifice example in this text of the one who humbled himself to show us what you were like. God, thank you that you are high and exalted and that you have a kingdom before us. Thank you that you even consider us to be part of your plan.